A few months ago, I was watching Blue Eye Samurai. Beautiful show. Would recommend if you haven't seen it. But the messages and the design and the characters, I loved it. It was great. But at the time, I wasn't quite deep into a artistic rut. One of the things that the show said stuck with me quite prominently at the time, and it was when the sword maker, spoilers if you haven't seen it, speaks to Mizu about why she can't successfully create her sword. And he says that she isn't working in service of the sword, she's working in service of a goal beyond the sword. He then goes on to talk about how everything he does is in service of his craft. This is something along the lines of, I collect wood so I can build fires to make good swords. I eat so I can have the energy to make good swords. Something along those lines.
Swords. I cook for strength to make good swords. I study the sutras to cleanse my heart to make good swords.
And at the time, being in a creative rut, I took that quite literally. I asked myself, does everything I do need to be in service of my art? Now, while the message is a good one, you should definitely work towards your goals with your goals in mind, and not stray too far beyond that. But being in the rut I was in, I took that very literally. I started to berate myself for not drawing as often as I should be and for not being good as I thought I should be. There was just a lot of issues with the sentiment at the time. It reached me at the wrong time. A few months later, I think PewDiePie released a video and I watched that, and I found it really inspiring to watch someone who's already lived a life start something completely new and from scratch, and he dedicated so much of his time every day to work towards something, and although the outcome wasn't always great, he still would push himself. This message reminded me that, as an artist, I should be pushing myself. Things aren't always going to be perfect, but that's half of what art is, especially if you're still learning and still trying to figure out what and who you are. But then, at the worst possible time, another video came out explaining that if you don't enjoy the act of making art, then art probably isn't for you. Being in a rut, I accepted this with no further thought. I was like, okay, I don't enjoy making art, maybe art isn't for me. Even though I have spent the past several years working towards the goal of one day maybe becoming an artist, I just took it at face value and thought, yeah, no, fine. And I didn't pick up a pencil for quite a while. And then, last week, I watched Surf's Up, the film about the surfing penguins. I have loved that film ever since I was a kid. I've always been in awe of surfers and surfing in general. I just think that being able to work so well with nature that you can float on top of it, I think that's so cool. Returning to the film, one of the many messages, it talks about being okay with the experience that you had regardless of the outcome of that experience. I have one specific memory where I was surfing, not very well, but the clouds were rolling in. It was sunny when everybody got into the allocated surf area. And then these clouds rolled in and it started raining buckets, but nobody got out of the water. We all just kept going. We all wanted to be there because we loved the act of just sitting on and being in the ocean. And this is what Cody, throughout the film, learns to do. He learns to just enjoy the experience of surfing and not worry about winning or being the greatest surfer or living up to Big Z's image.
He was the greatest. Everyone looked up to him, respected him, loved him. And one day I'm gonna be just like him.
By the end, there was none of that. He cuts the quote-unquote documentary short and just goes and enjoys the waves.
To be honest, man, I'm kind of like bored of talking about myself, so is that cool? You guys got what you need?
Yeah, we got it.
All right, be good.
Give it to me now. Oh, we'll
think this message you can apply to anything in life, but I think art very easily. I think we often forget as artists when we're trapped in a rut, or when we're trapped in this middle stage of not liking a piece or where we're going. It's very easy to forget why we started and that we enjoy it.
An artist gives all they have to the art, the whole. Your strengths and deficiencies, your